Before we take a look at Dead Ash, I just want to specify, this video is not the law. You should play the frame and judge for yourself. This video shouldn't imply that he's not fun or can't be used at certain level content. There are plenty of people out there reviewing frames if that interests you truly. Equally, it's fine if you disagree with my suggestions. This is all about opening up a discussion and to improve upon what we have. Even if my critique or build aren't correct, or you think the changes I suggest aren't what he needs, discuss civilly. Please. Under no circumstance are these the best or most efficient changes possible, nor my critique flawless. Just the opinion I formed. Now for my unnecessary, over-the-top, and controversial suggestions. I am not a big fan of a significant portion of passives in Warframe. Night Assist passive feels like the goal other passives should aim for. That being said, at base, Ash's passive is not that bad. He gets 25% more damage and 50% extra duration on slash from both abilities and weapons. Literal PoG. I suggest the passive instead give a chance for slash procs triggered by Ash to mark enemies, increasing slash damage and bleed duration on affected enemies stacking up to 3 times. Basically, once you get those 3 stacks, you get the 25% more damage and 50% duration as his passive does now, except his team can use it. Think of the term mark as an improved slash proc basically. That being said, marked enemies should be highlighted through obstruction. For allies too, and finishers on enemies with 3 marks should convey the effect of covert lethality. Alternatively, I considered adding scaling to the passive slash damage and duration increase based on marked enemy finishers or number of bleed ticks, but lethality felt better. His first ability, Shuriken, will function as it does now, with the exception that it will always mark affected targets. I also think they should add a charge state that increases the number of affected enemies, or causes Ash to throw a glaive-like Shuriken that travels in a straight line and can actually pin to walls like the ability states. As for the augment, Seeking Shuriken, it's a joke. Even if you could target 7 enemies, there are just more viable options for armor stripping. Instead, I'd like to see marked enemies launch Shuriken on death that seek out nearby enemies, ignoring terrain. Something akin to Pack Seeker, but the number of Shuriken scales with the number of marks and is doubled on finishers. Smokescreen currently seems to be in conflict with Ivara and Loki's Invis and could use something more unique and with a higher base duration. Smokescreen should instead cover Ash in smoke, granting movement speed and evasion. Enemies are stunned and then marked, the order is important, on initial contact, with the stun duration scaling based on how many marks an enemy has, and then have their accuracy and alert radius reduced for the duration. Note that enemies actually within the smoke have a greater accuracy and alert radius reduction than those just under the effect, and while within the radius of Smokescreen, enemy mark durations are refreshed. As for the augment, Smokescreen's range should increase with finishers on marked enemies, and apply its effect to allies within Smokescreen's radius. As for teleport, it should no longer target allies. Outside of using specters to get by spy lasers, I haven't really seen an instance where I wanted to use it and hitting an ally was beneficial. It should also be renamed to Fatal Teleport, gaining the augment's function minus the bonus damage. Ash should use a special dagger or blade when using this ability to keep finisher speed consistently quick and not be dependent on equipped melee. The new augment will give Ash and nearby allies a shield to absorb damage after killing an enemy with Fatal Teleport, basically like he's taking them hostage, more or less. And finally, Blade Storm. While active, Ash should mark all enemies once that come into radius. His 2 clones should automatically target enemies with 3 marks, and upon deactivation, all marks should be removed from enemies. Note that Fatal Teleport would not make you join Bladestorm. To me, that just felt really disorienting because I want the clones to do their thing while I go attack another target. All in all, with these changes, Shuriken and the augment should feel more impactful, each ability should meld together a bit more, Ash would have supportive options, and Bladestorm should feel like a better mix between the old AFK finishers and the current light switch flickering ability that it is now. And of course, this is all just in theory, and it's hard to know how all of these would work together exactly without testing, but let me know what you think in the comments, and thank you for your time.